Hi, welcome back from the break, everybody. I'm not going to be shouting very loud today because I currently have a cold. So we'll see how that goes, Hex. That's right. Take your distance. No, it's just, you know, it's where it like hangs in there, you know, it doesn't want to let go.
It's
you're not
from,
you're not sneezing or coughing.
It's from Dallas, you know that.
Yes.
You know, it's called, like, in the industry, we call it the land flu. Everyone in a close quarters together, you end up getting a little sick, you know, a little too much joy had over the weekend.
How can Mitch hear anything with the song, like the audio that loud? All right, so Washington-Boston, guys, that's going to be our match coming up next, as you guys can see on your lower third there. So, looks like Boston are the team to keep an eye on right now. They're responsible for a big upset win versus the Los Angeles Gladiators.
I would like to see Boston continue to roll through. Like, do you want to just be one of those mid-tier packs that can pull off an upset, or do you want to start stepping on some throats and crushing people? Because I think they have the potential to do that. Excellent coaching for this team. Some all-star players on the come-up as they start to gel around this RCK trade. And yeah, they beat the Gladiators, who a lot of people had penciled in at like that 4, 5, or 6 spot in the league. New York got big upset yesterday, so now we need someone else to be part of this big three. I think Boston is a team with the potential to pull this off. Their prep is great. They've got an all-star main tank, infusions. They've got good players all across the board. So I want them to be no less than dominating against this Washington squad.
No, they should. They should absolutely roll them, Hex. It should be a situation similar to what we had just now in the previous match. I mean, heavily favored, I would put Boston right now. It looks like Huck, everything is working out for him. He's stuck to his game plan in terms of the long con, essentially. Like, you guys, you're not going to know these players, but I have a system, and that system's going to work. And so far, it seems to be panning out for him, at least with the recent results. But now let's go ahead and get our first team out on the stage, and that is going to be the Washington Justice. There it is. Do we say shields up, though? That's already a thing.
You can't. They're going to have some turnover at the higher end of the organization after stage 2. They're kind of limping along here. They did get that 0 off the board finally. It has been Corey and the Koreans, Corey in the house, as it were. I like when they play DPS. I think Corey can have a carry moments and potential on that hero. They've made some changes to the back line as well, trying to get Arc and Sleepy working really well together. So the roster has been evolving and changing. And we'll see if they can finally cobble together some wins. Map wins. At some point, you gotta give your fans something to cheer for.
I mean, they have some talent on the team. I mean, Janos has gotten a lot of focus going into this season in terms of how is he going to perform with this, along with Arc. But let's go ahead and get their opponents onto the stage now. It is none other than the Boston Uprising. Good headsets.
They definitely are. There comes Kelix right out the gate. One of the only faces on this Boston roster that you would recognize from last year. It's been one of the old standbys, but this is a team that has probably better scouting than any other team in the Overwatch League. They find these diamonds in the rough, they bring them in. It's kind of a system team, so you always kind of wonder, like, is the player good or is it the system? Very much like their NFL counterpart in the Patriots. Is Tom Brady a god-tier quarterback, or is Bill Belichick just that good? And it doesn't matter, you win games.
Yeah, so long as you're getting the W's. And well, RCK, that was a lot of talk going on to trade with him, and note one of those guys who had been on Boston since the beginning, so you know, it's one of the biggest diva players in the league. When Boston decided to trade him for RCK, everybody was kind of like, what?
Yeah.
How does that work? Why are you getting rid of your star?
Boston probably made some money in that transaction as well. But one of the better run organizations. But it's one of those rare situations in sports that I think everyone's always happy with, that both teams got better after the trade. Dallas got better with Node on that roster as Diva. Boston got better. They're allowed to play the Sombra. This was one of the clutchest Sombra plays you'll ever see. This one was over. RCK gets a 3K on the point, brings it back, and really started the momentum for Boston in their upset over the Gladiators.
Yeah, exactly right. So you're seeing some of the Sombra play. Hopefully we'll see some of that today as well. Bit of the diva, bit of that grin. I mean, I'm pretty sure that Boston are going to be getting some W's on the board, so we should be seeing him smiling. But, you know, as far as the rankings are concerned, keep in mind, so many, exactly, out of 26 players, so many players to compete with on this hero in the league, right. But he's still able to net some of those top 5.
Yeah, you're thrown off a little bit by final blows and fewest deaths because he's super aggressive on it. Sometimes he dies before he gets EMP off, but the efficiency there, enemies hacked and hacked to limbs, way up to the top. So when he is on the Sombra, yeah, he dies and you have to reset and you throw a fight here or there, but when he's in there and he gets on people, they die. They die for sure.
So, playmaker here. That is kind of the role of him on the team. The Diva, the Eva, the Sombra, rather. You know, they are the ones that are setting it up. Let's get into the maps now, Hex. Presented by Toyota. Lijiang is going to be our control map to kick things off in this best of 5 or first to 3.
Yeah, Control is such an interesting thing because we have 3 different stages and the meta is very different on all of those different stages. If we go to Night Market, you're going to see very classic 3-3 for the most part. You can't really run a Pharah because that 3-3 just stays inside and the roof is too low that even Zarya can beam you down. This one in particular, Control Center, I believe. I don't know. My mind's working a little slow today. But this is a different map. You can see a Mei run on here, actually. You can see a lot of different things. And then on Gardens is generally the Pharah map. You see people in the sky. So Control has its own meta, depending on what stage you roll with the RNG gods for you. We'll see what these teams want to run. I wouldn't be surprised if this Mei sticks here. Yeah, RCK is actually going to come out on the Mei. Perfect. You wall people off. You want to fight in these small corridors. Mei is the map editor of Overwatch.
Exactly, and we've seen this in the past. Some teams are brave, and exactly that. You see the wall going down there, cutting the Justice off from their spawn, from the main hallway, trying to force them onto the point and into an awkward spot. So long as they're out in the open, though, this could be awkward here for RCK, but he is going to try and cut the back line off, and that's going to lead to a kill on Giannis. Picture perfect. You cut those lines of sight. The healers need to see their targets to keep them up. And if you just throw a wall there and say, hey, by the way, you're not going to see your main tank for at least a couple seconds, and your team pounces on them, boom, you get results.
That's the benefit. Now let's talk about the trade-off that you get of not running a D.Va. On the other side of things, Sleepy on Ana should be able to do whatever he wants with nades, with sleep darts, anything. There's no defense matrix up for Boston to be able to deal with it. It also means that Corey doesn't even have to worry about chucking grabs in. You can just yeet it from downtown and connect.
Yeah, that's the main thing. That's why a D.Va is the most picked hero in the league, pretty much hands down. D-Matrix is just way overpowered. It's so good that you can't, it's so hard to play without. So we'll see. I mean, this is the trade. See if it pans out here for Boston Uprising. His Fusions is getting hammered right now. RCK put to sleep. He'll survive. No worries there. And the Justice right now trying to press forward. It is Boston with first control. They find the pick on RCK, and that's just as Blizzard comes online too, Hex.
Yeah, it's a little bit rough. Now, I believe that they're just going to try to stay alive here, try to fight this 5v6. A rally comes out to keep everybody alive, topped off with armor. Grab's coming online as well. Mei could be able to get back here too. They're playing it passively. This is so smart.
Well, there's the grab getting thrown in. Can we have any follow-up? It looks like we can! Well, there you have it. Perfect play. They just blow them up somehow.
If you're a Justice fan and you're trying to figure out why your team is struggling in this Overwatch League season, just start sending them W keys on the keyboard. You get an initial pick like that, then you just meander around on the point. Problem with Washington is they don't capitalize on advantages they have, and those advantages are kind of rare. They play super passive. They're always backing up. Hit W. Go in. Get some kills. You just got one. It's 6v5 in a 3v3 meta. You should be winning that every time.
You need confidence to do that, Hex, to get in there and take the fight. I mean, Corey right now, gonna take advantage of it. There's the D-bomb right on top. Does find a kill on Color Hex, and a one fight here for Washington Justice. Surely 4 kills in the span of a couple seconds. Gonna make it very difficult for Boston to hang on to this. And yeah, Boston going for the reset. Aim God chucked himself off the side.
No reason to fight that. At 95%, you are 1 fight away. The moment it starts looking bad, you just give up, you reset, you already consider this up a one map. You have all the ultimates that you want to work with here. They ended up using a couple. They might wait around to see if they get Rally from Blase. Come in with the Rally, try to hit a Shatter. I mean, Fusions is a god Reinhardt. I can't imagine he won't hit a good Shatter here, especially when you isolate the opposing Ryan like that.
And then we saw it again, but somehow it's Blase to fall that time around. Fusion's gonna be the next. Reset now. Boston doing a good job here of just hightailing it out. As soon as they lost the first man, they're just like, right, turn tail, get back to spawn. The reason why you want to do that if you lose that first player is if you hang around, odds of you winning the fight, tiny. Odds of you giving your opponents a lot of ult charge, huge.
They just get worse and worse.
So
and
just
now,
get out of dodge.
Boston's in a good spot. They could have played that really slow and waited for Rally. They will have rallied this fight around and also have a Graviton, have a Shatter, have a Blizzard, everything except Transcendence.
Oh, rallies are in. Armor's there. Fusions gets great nade on top of him. Sound Barrier going to keep him alive, though. And they're going to be able to capitalize on this Boston, perhaps overextending, hoping to get the kill on Fusions. Janice goes down, and so does Corey.
Corey gets frozen and then booped into the open maw of the Boston Uprising front line. Just a frozen mannequin ready to be dispatched, and Boston should be able to take first point.
Yeah. Can anybody get back here in touch in time? It's not looking like it. We might have, yeah, Sleepy's trying to run, but not meant to be. So the Justice, they're showing a bit of a fight here, Hex. They're able to get control, or at least get control of the point, start getting some percentage on the board. But Boston, to me, didn't look like they were out of control, or like they were worried at any point
No,
there. They looked
no.
like they had it all unlocked.
It felt inevitable at a certain point, but you look at the final score there, 70% to 100%, and you look at one of those very first fights that they should have won, and they just didn't pounce on it. They got RCK super early, then you don't have to worry about Maywalls, and they just sat around the point, waited around, which is what Boston wanted. They were in control of the point. They were waiting for respawns. They win that fight, then maybe you're 100% to 70 on the other side of things.
So we may see a change here, and this is because Boston now, they're the team with more experience as a unit. They're the team who have the confidence to know that they're 3-3. They can always fall back on it now because clearly it is better. And so Washington Justice still trying to find their feet. They're going to stick to 3-3. Boston Uprising, though, here we go. The fist is in play.
Yeah, it's interesting because I mentioned this was not necessarily a Pharah map, but we used to see Pharah on this map against, you know, all sorts of different TPS combinations. The issue is, if you don't win the fight outside, you have to fight inside, and that's where the Cage Bird does not sing, because everyone's enraged to actually get that Pharah inside.
Ooh, I wonder what the song would sound like. Is it Ark just making a noise there as he gets plastered against the wall by Blase? Surprise, surprise. I like that we get Sleepy going for the Ana. When you've only got really Fusions who has a lot of HP, you know, the Discord Orb, it's nice, it's dandy, but you could still try and put a little bit of pressure here. How are you, Beta? You guys sleep on Blase. Blase, he's surviving, barely.
They just put the Pharah up there over top to try to zone them out. Now down one, that's an unresable position too. They're gonna be without this. So 6v5, can Washington capitalize on a 6v5?
They had better be able to here. Although ColorX is doing a great job right now building up to that barrage, 80% and counting. Hammering
Isolated.
damage into Janus. This is a big opportunity. What a great concuss nade. Perfect play from Hex. Excellent kill, just keeping Janus away from his team. So sick. 29% on the board for Boston. The point is flipped for Justice, but there is a chance. It's lost though for Boston.
That's why you don't want to play inside on that Pharah. He tried to get something big going. They're going to lose both parts of the Pharah and Mercy Pharmacy combination. Boston has to reset, and now this is the question now. Because it's a great composition to be able to hold outside, to be able to take first point and mess around in wide open spaces. Can you take a point back with a DPS combination?
Yeah, that's a question, because Blase isn't changing off the fist.
EMP Barrage. EMP Barrage is what you're going for here, and if it fails, then you probably make some changes. You're at 30-30 here. You have time to make the swap.
Already in the door. Careful. There it is. There it is. EMP nails nearly everybody. Everybody gets wiped. Everybody gets hacked. Perfect play. The combo's done, and that is going to be a very quick take here for Boston. They'll flip that point back. 45. Looks like it'll be up to like, what?
50,
48, yeah. 30% on the board now for Boston and counting.
Very close, but this is where you want to be as a DPS composition too, hanging out outside, hoping that they walk in and being able to isolate them, which hasn't been difficult for most teams against the tank line of Washington Justice. They isolate themselves a lot of the time. However, Washington has some ultimates to work with. You start with Rally, of course.
Just wondering, when are we going to see the plays here? Yep, there it is. Opportunity, and it's missed. Sleepy somehow survives it. That's a self-destruct wombo combo over the top here for Sansound. Double kill for him, and a wipe on the side of Boston. And, well, Boston, I mean, Blase, you got to be getting those kills, but it's also just taking him forever to get his Meteor going.
Yeah, they don't really have any sort of combination to work with the Meteor anyway, though. It's pretty much just an escape. At this level of play, the Meteor Strike's not going to get anything unless there's a Graviton, unless you get the Space Jam setup. But a nice play there from Washington. And we talked about the trade-offs at our previous point, but right now, there's nothing to stop this Earth Shatter. There's nothing to stop these enormous tank ultimates when they come online.
Where are these, oh, okay, Nano goes in. So that's going to be Janus. That's his sign to go in and do some serious pain damage. There it is. Aim God gets picked. They're doing a solid job right now, Justice. And right now, I'm wondering if the Boston Uprising, they aren't getting a bit cocky here, Hex.
Well, they're getting kills now. They bring Aim God back to life with the Resurrection. They're able to dive deep. Sansem's now out of the mix, which means these rockets should be finding their targets.
Oh, man, and they don't have anything to work with on the side of Justice. How have they lost control of this situation? As Janus chucked over the side by Blase. Quick capture, yes, there's the flip. 97% for Washington Justice. And Boston still sticking to their guns.
All right, one fight away for Washington to be able to tie up this map to gain a point. The issue is they used nearly every ultimate that they have. The closest one they have to coming online is going to be Graviton. Again, no Diva on the other side. However, they're all going to be so spread out that you have to commit yourself to a solo grab. Ideally, you want to get Mercy here in a solo grab, but she's probably going to be in the sky. Very likely it's going to go on to Blase or Fusions if you have the opportunity, but you're not going to... You have to throw out the notion you're going to get 3 people in a grab. This composition is not going to allow it.
Again, trying to knock him up. Looking for the follow-up here. Cut Arc off for the rest of his team. So many low, and that is going to be it. Face of a Blase. Just out and out chaos as soon as he gets into the line like that. So hard for the Justice to hang on. They're going to get the res up on him as well. So it will be 99% here. Boston on the edge of picking up the first map in this series. All they have to do is hold, and that's exactly what they will do in the end. Janus tries to get back on the point. He just cannot do it. And Boston, I get the feeling that they're thumbing their nose a little bit at Washington with that comp.
They should. I want to see them start to elevate themselves into that upper echelon. And you don't do it by losing maps to the Washington Justice at the bottom of the league. Boston has a chance to be one of those tier 1 teams. There's a void up at the top. Let's see if they can continue it when we return right after these messages.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Okay, Washington fighting. Okay, Washington fighting.
Everyone, last match, this stage, please win.
Let's win. Hey,
Okay.
if we win, I buy you all ice cream, okay?
Okay.
You want ice cream?
I'm gonna have the most expensive one.
That's okay.
Oh, no.
I will spend $100 ice cream just for you. Let's just win, okay?
In Before Sleepy is one of those guys who just gets you like the cheapest ice cream from Spartan Final possible. He's like, well, hey, it's a 20 bucks. I mean, come on, it's like $5. Yeah, there you go, guys. I'm true to my word.
Even cheap ice cream's good ice cream. Little ice cream sandwiches, those are really super cheap ones. What's your go-to ice cream when you do treat yourself?
When I do it, it's banana sundae.
Banana sundae,
Yeah,
like
those
full-on
are
banana split?
Full-on banana split.
I like the frozen brownie bites.
Oh, those are pretty good.
Yeah, like half-baked, I think is the
It's tough
name.
though. It's rare, man. Oh, okay, but you're going into like the Ben & Jerry's stuff, right?
Yeah, just, I don't want to give that.
Hey, cookie
Unless
dough.
they're a sponsor,
Cookie dough,
I'm not going to say
if
the
there's
name.
cookie dough in anything, well, don't worry.
Well, there's cookie dough in that. It's cookie dough and brownie bites.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Actually, that's probably my biggest weakness is cookie dough. Any kind of cookie dough ice cream, I'm just done.
Right.
It's over. I'll eat the whole thing.
Yeah.
You got to keep it out of the house.
So Washington trying to get themselves back into contention here. Ice cream is a great motivator there, as it is for most human beings in life. Did not look great in the first map, but Washington's a frustrating team because you can look at it and be like, they were one fight away from winning that first point, and then they could have maybe one second point, or maybe go to a different point. So they seem super far off from everybody else in the league, just looking at the standings, but if you look at it on this micro level, there's a fight here, a mistake there, that if you just clean this up, you could start getting to the mid-tier again. Maybe.
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 It's a long road ahead.
It's hard to
we
be
are,
super
but I mean,
confident.
we are getting to the point in the season right now where and this is where that big break between stage 2 and 3 is going to be so valuable for the teams. Imagine we're going to see a lot of swaps. Imagine we're going to see a lot of teams buckle down and start to buff out these rough edges you're talking about, because there is a big gap now between the top half of the league and the bottom half of the league. It's a lot of 4-0s right now. And so I'm thinking this time off that these teams are going to have, it's just going to let them recharge those batteries, and we'll see some closer matches going into stage 3 once they've started to figure things out.
I'm also rather certain that during this big break we have between the first and second half of the season, you're going to see new faces on new teams. Some new players you haven't heard before, because you get into stage 2 and there's not much of a break after stage 1. You don't necessarily know what is wrong. At this point, you know what's wrong with your team. You know how to fix it. Now it's time as an organization to go out and make those moves, to make your team competitive, to give the fans something to cheer for. Offensively, we've got Boston trying to work on their DPS strategies here. We've got a Pharmacy, Pharah and the Mercy in the sky. We've got a Widowmaker just sitting in the back here. Now it's all about getting disruption on the point to push people into these sight lines for Color Hex's Widow.
Whoop, looking for a shot, not quite. But yeah, this was a common strategy now actually that we've seen a bit now, at least this Pharah Widow combo, because the Widow cuts them up, forces them into corners, and then who gets to just chuck rockets into bodies? It's Blase. We're not quite seeing the body parts fly just yet, but Blase doing good work, just focusing on Washington, not letting them get comfortable. And in the meantime, we've nearly got a tick of progress for Boston.
At a certain point, the defense matrix is going to be on cooldown, and that shield for the Brigida is going to crack. And now you see them putting all sorts of resources into it. Meanwhile, no one is touching Blase here. But it's taking a while. Yeah.
There's one tick. Hex, we haven't had a kill yet, and Boston have just slowly, like, boa constricted a permanent tick of progress out of Washington Justice on this first point now.
And at some point, you got to fight. You got to make a choice here. A little surprised Blase's not trying to knock this Reinhardt off of the edge, but you know times are bad when Reinhardt's trying to fire strike a Pharah.
This is unreal. 2 ticks of permanent progress, and we haven't even had a kill yet. That might have been the first. Blase somehow going to survive it. This is bonkers. Finally, we get a D-Mech. That's not a kill. Okay, 1 for each team. Slowest team fight ever.
It's actually going decent here for Washington, but the respawns will come in much quicker for Boston as they get a resurrection on Fusions. Now it is time for them to just finish this one off. Nice headshot. That's going to put the Brigida right back into the closet.
You got to hit those shots. Right now, if you're Color Hex, you can't be passing up. You can't be taking multiple shots to drop Sam in a mini diva form. You need to just be picking those off clean and really forcing. Exactly. They have to now think about getting around these angles. RCK, big EMP, going to get a couple of hacks off. And just a manual way versus Janus as well. That's not going to help him. Just back and forth now, though. We're losing the back and front line for Boston, and that will send them back to spawn.
I think they got greedy there. I think they really wanted to hold on to that EMP and start holding on to these ults and try to get a snowball from first point to second point. Had that EMP come out earlier, they're probably in a much better position to win this, and now it's just in shambles. Time to completely regroup.
Buddy, just hang out. So long as Otto can be out there, he's getting a bit of support. We are going to get a little bit more progress here for Boston. Waiting on the nano from Aim God. Who's he going to choose?
You can nano fusions here easily. Blase is not near a barrage, so you don't need to nano him to keep him alive. And now they've got Imprecise, so they know where everybody is. They can see through walls with the help of that Widowmaker ultimate.
Let's see. Looking for the jam. There it is. Oh, he gets sucked into the grab. That's unfortunate for Fusions. But it is going Boston's way. A couple of big kills here. The Sleepy and Arc really working hard to keep their team up at this point. But now it's Boston Uprising. They should have a huge advantage here to just close out this first point. Somehow it's taken them ages, but there we go. 1 kill, looking for the second. Yep, Janus goes down, and certainly this must be it now.
Well, DPS compositions tend to be a little bit slower, ironically enough, than just running tanks and supports, because you can't just take a 6v5 and start running over people. It takes a while to do this damage against a team that has all this sustain with their support heroes and the big health pools of the tanks.
And the shields. Okay, fine, Hex, fine.
Yeah, it takes a while. It just takes a bit, so they finally crack it open. 4 minutes in their time bank. Only a nano, as Boston is going to make some changes here. But a nano's one of the great ultimates, because everyone gets a little, or your target gets a little more damage. He's a little more sustainable with that.
He takes reduced damage.
Takes reduced damage. So you can turn a nano boost into another ultimate. Usually it's going to go on the Reinhardt.
Well, we're on to the second point here. Second point possible on this map. Boston Uprising looking to get 2 points at the end of this half. And we'll say it's already the Coalescence from Sleepy. That does mixed damage and healing and cuts through everything. So powerful ultimate. And it is going to force Boston Uprising to think twice about pushing onto the point. They have to back off around the corner and regroup.
Yeah, you see him aiming at his own teammates and the other team. It'll damage the other team, heals your own guys up, and pierces everything. Goes through shields, goes through Matrix. No stop in the Coalescence ultimate when it comes out. Boston has designs on keeping this going. They're gonna have Rally and they're gonna have Shatter here momentarily.
Indeed, Fusions hanging on by a thread, gonna get topped, and that's gonna help him out. Sent them literally smushed to death. The bomb was just overkill there on Aim God. That was brutal.
Time to go. Time to go.
Get out, reset fast.
Yeah, Fusions dies there because he can't retreat as fast as the rest of his team. Also, he's not as important to retreat as Color Hex. You don't want to die as Zarya and give up all the energy that you've committed. That center number in the middle of your screen is how much damage she will be doing. the Zarya average energy. So you want to keep your Zarya alive at all costs, even if that's giving up your main tank. Coming in here, Boston has a Graviton Surge and an Earth Shatter at the ready. They also are going to have Self-Destruct as well. Nothing really to fight against this for Washington, unless you want to counter grab and maybe Sound Barrier.
It's going to be the Sound Barrier that'll be key here. No trance. That's the usual play. Sleepy on that Zenyatta, his ultimate. Usually you'll see the grab get thrown in, everybody gets brought into that black hole, or you can have just Sleepy just doming people. There's a great volley around the corner, and Aim God just walked right into it.
That's almost it. I mean, Boston's going to want to fight this because you only lost one and you already have all this positioning here. But as an offense on assault maps, you have to win so cleanly, so perfectly, because the respawn point for the defense right behind them. They're coming back into the mix so much quicker, so they have to get out, even though they lost one, just to regain. You don't want to go in and start using ultimates and get no value. Look at the screen that we're highlighting. A lot of ultimates up. Now on the other side of things, there is going to be Sound Barrier to defend this. Clash in the corner.
Rally on both sides. Where is Sleepy? Giannis is getting topped as well, but there's so much damage going into this. Grabs all over the place, left and right, and it's looking like it's going to be a perfect hold here for the Washington Justice. So close on the side of Washington to going down, but Boston just could not weather the storm.
Yeah, looking for some late kills here as they chase out. We're at 90 seconds on the clock for the Boston Uprising offense. That means one good push and maybe, well, I think we'd call it a scuffed push after the fact if it doesn't work. So they're down to it. They are going to have Earth Shatter, going to have Rally. Similar to the control map, I'd like to see them wait for Rally. That allows your Brigida to be aggressive and maybe bash the opposing Rhine, and then you get a big shatter in.
Sure. Blase is hanging on. All right, let's see. Fusions powering on through, getting the bubble up, and that is going to be Janus getting clocked. Self-destruct over the top isn't going to find anything. That was an unfortunate angle there for Sensam.
Oh, this started as perfectly as it can. Both tanks down for Washington as Boston pushes in.
2 kills.
Oh, it's a lonely Transcendence.
It's not going to help things either. Just buying a little bit of time, but that's not going to be enough. 1 tick of permanent progress picked up on the point for Boston Uprising. Nearly a second as well. There's only one guy who's on here just trying to buy a little bit of time. And for Washington Justice now, because they spawn right next to this point, they're trying to go on one at a time and hope that Boston are the team to make a mistake, that they overextend. But it's not looking like Boston are going to be making any mistakes here, Hex. This is just a matter of time. RCK with the dunk.
Bomb over the top takes out 2 in the cleanup here. They did switch to the Hammond at the end to try to stall. They should have switched to stall heroes much earlier. That fight was not going to be brought back.
Beautiful work from Boston. In the end, they had to work for it a little bit. They're perhaps getting ahead of themselves. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll see what Washington Justice are capable of on the offense. And welcome back from the break. We are going to get into the action here. Washington Justice on the offense, Boston Uprising on the defense. Boston were able to pick up 2 points in the first go. And Hex, next week, Stage 2 playoffs. You can see it there at the bottom half of your screen. They begin Thursday. That's the 9th. It always screws me up with the American way of like flipping the months in front. Like, what is that? Why is the month before the day?
You were raised in Venice.
How does that make sense, Hex?
You were raised in Venice.
I was, and then I went to a civilized... Never mind. So, it does actually mess with your head because then you start doing like the 24 hours as well. You know, it's like, oh, what time is it? Oh, 18.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's 6 p.m.
Yeah.
But it's 18. But then you come back here and then like, oh, military man. It's like, no, just.
Stage playoffs are going to be great. We have all the top teams in it. Unfortunately for these teams, they have to look past it just a little bit here and look towards the end goal of the season. Stage playoffs are all fine and good, but you want to be in that top 12 at the end of the season to get to your actual season finals here.
Yeah.
Washington, a long way to go. Boston, I think, should definitely be in the conversation as a team that should make an appearance at the season finals and at least in the play-in, right?
Yes.
Top 12.
They are a team that are making quite a bit of progress. So be sure to tune in next Thursday, 6 p.m. PST. We'll be live with the kickoff of the Stage 3 playoffs, and this is what these teams are battling for. Spot Boston Uprising right now. Looking for it.
Very standard play here from Washington, running just a very basic 3-3. 3 supports, 3 tanks, getting beamed down just a little bit. The difference is Boston is running the Winston on the defense, which makes a lot of sense because you're able to get Primal Rage up so quickly. Fusion's got it there, able to bat them around a little bit. Get himself 1,000 HP, then you turn into actual Primal mode. That's it for that fight, as Kelix escorts 2 people back to spawn reluctantly. Washington, a little under 3 minutes on the clock on this first offense.
Plenty of time, although Sensam's not going to be too happy about that. There we go. Eventually RCK obliges him, sends him back to spawn so he can get a new mech. Washington Justice, it didn't pan out, but that's the thing. If you keep an eye at the top of the screen, those check marks, those glowing check marks, that's what you want when you're running this exact kind of strategy. 3 big tanks, 3 big healers. Really hard to kill things if you don't have those check marks, those ultimate abilities. We've got 4 of them online now for Washington, soon to be 6,
Yeah.
and then it's going to be the party on the point. Because Boston, they're trying to do the same.
The order of operations is you always rally in, that gets everybody armor, gives Brigade a little bit of speed boost. That's the rally comes off first. Now you want to try to gain ground with this rally before you start using other ultimates.
Fusion's just rocking it up to a primal. Yep, perfect, gonna knock him out of position. Good support there, however, for Corey. He's gonna survive it, but he's not really a part of the fight until Fusions allows him to. Fusion's the bouncer right now, holding him off at the door.
I got a sound barrier down. Aim gun going down is enormous. That is the majority of the healing for the Boston Uprising. Able to bring it back though. Color Hex turns it on, gets 2.
Oh, buddy, Color Hex right now just melting faces. This is big. If you lose the entire back line, that was a huge pin. That did almost slow him down, but the rest of his team for Color Hex able to get the job done, and Boston Uprising will hold. Not a single tick of permanent progress on the point here for Washington Justice Hex, and we're at 1:20 on the clock.
I think Fusions is about to have his 3rd Primal Rage, just getting so much damage, and Winston's weapon, of course, hits multiple targets at once. It's able to do cleave damage, and that's how you get these ultimates up so quickly. Jumps in there with the bubble, hits them all through the door. He's gonna have Primal for the next fight. And Primal, you don't necessarily need to kill people. It's all about disruption. It's all about disconnecting people from the fight. If you're disconnected from your team, you might as well be dead.
Looking for it. Once again, there's Fusions, and once again, he's got Primal. Once again, he's just looking to punch people in the face. Very violent, very violent. Arc, he will fall, and that is going to be yet another solid hold here for the Boston Uprising, and it's looking pretty grim here for Washington.
Yeah, they had to back out. They all got anti-healed. The Biotic Grenade heals your team, make sure the other team can't get healed, so they all had to leave. Now, in what is very likely their last offensive push if they don't capture it, you can open it with Rally, you have Transcendence. Giannis, we haven't even said his name, but he has to step up big here. You're gonna need a big shatter going on. He's almost has Zur Shatter out.
Yeah, Janus is having a bit of a trouble. Oh, aim god. Gotta be careful, trying to play the possession. Yep, there we go, Fusions once again. He's just getting boosted every time. This additional damage, he's just cranking out primals at this point. So much pressure here on Washington Justice, but this is it. We're running out of the clock. 3 seconds left here, and they need to get on the point.
Look at that ult meter just charging up.
Overtime is in, but now you gotta work your way back. They're getting booped off the point.
They're
Body
getting primal
that
now.
is perfect. Unbelievable. Did Washington forget the clock existed? What happened there? They're trying to act as if they've got time to wrap all the way around or look for a different fight.
Even had they come in there, you got to know Primal's going to be online. You know that Winston's been doing a ton of damage to you. He'd just knock him up the stairs anyway.
And then the grab as well.
Yeah, Washington just played themselves.
That's a tough one. Boston looking so good.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile.
Washington Justice have just one win on the season, and so far the Uprising look determined to keep it that way. It's all Boston in this one. They're up 2-0 over the Justice at the break. Welcome to halftime, everybody. Malik here. We got Monte Cristo and Zoe. Guys, definitely a one-sided affair here between the Justice and the Uprising. At the top of the match, though, I was very elated to see some May play from RCK.
I mean, I think throughout the history of the Overwatch League that May has been underutilized. She's basically always been good. It's just she's niche good in certain situations. And when you have a lot of these choke points, her ability to cut off the back line, I know Semler and Hex are talking about this on cast, really makes it difficult to keep your main tanks up.
Yeah.
So on certain maps, bust out the May, absolutely, it is a good strategy. And furthermore, this sort of cements RCK within this Boston lineup. The coaches are being able to run many more styles of composition with him compared to Note. And I think that trade to Dallas and from Dallas to Boston was good for both sides.
Indeed. You know what? I like how Hex put it. It's kind of like a map editor having May in there. You know, she completely controls the crowd and everything. So let's move on to the general highlights for this. Was there anything that stood out to you guys in the first half at all?
Yeah, I think actually Boston with RCK on that May, also with Fusions and Blasé and the heroes they played, meaning the Doomfist as well as, of course, the Hammond. They did a great job at wrecking some havoc and spreading some chaos along the lines of the Washington Justice. They did a lot of those divide and conquer scenarios where they were able to split them up with the Primal Rages, with the Walls, with Blasé on Doomfist. And I think that was just giving them a really easy time of actually getting those pickups from the front as well as the back lines.
Yeah, and I think, at least for the Justice, they did a pretty decent job of bunkering on point A of Anubis, where we do see some of these multi-DPS attacks, but it did fall apart on the second point, and obviously their attack was not doing anything. So,
well, I feel like the Justice can take one thing away. Their support's really good. That first team fight that they had, the Boston Uprising were playing 3 DPS and could not take the Justice down. It took a while for them to.
I mean,
break
that is their strongest asset. Like Arc and
Yeah.
Sleepy, that is at the moment for me personally the only like bright light we have on the Washington Justice. Everything else.
What about Corey?
Yeah, no, I mean, Corey, I'm not saying like, hey, Corey's not a bad player. I just don't think that the team works with each other. I don't think they have that carry. They don't have those single individuals who can really lead the team to victory. So that's kind of what they need.
I mean, I do credit the Justice for clearly getting better players, especially at the support position, like Zoe's saying, and I do think their supports are the strongest part of this roster right now. But, you know, after a week off, we need to see more from this team, frankly. Like, you would think, after getting Arc, a strong shot caller, getting Sleepy from the San Francisco Shock, that we would be seeing, I don't know, a better performance out of the Justice.
I agree with you. It should be a lot more competitive.
You made player upgrades, so when are we going to see the benefit? Would be my
maybe
my
stage
question.
3. I don't know. We'll see.
I like your optimism, Malik.
I'm trying to throw him a bone. Well, guys, that's going to do it for halftime. But coming up later today, we'll see the Shanghai Dragons take on the San Francisco Shock in our match of the week. Now, the Shock have yet to drop a single map in stage 2, and are looking to be the first team to ever pull off a perfect stage. We sat down with Sinatra and Rascal to see how they're feeling going into today's match.
San Francisco Shock, 24 maps in a row.
We don't really care about like records that much. I mean, it was nice when we got the first record of like most map wins in a row, but we don't really look at it like a perfect stage. We just go into every match with a fresh mindset.
I don't know if anyone could disrespect them this much. They are still spawn camping the Fusion.
I think we've been on this winning streak because we're really good at like adapting to any play styles.
저희는 공격적인 팀 그리고 수비적인 팀 그 사이에서 참 조율을 잘하는 팀이라고 생각을 해서 센 이유 중 하나가 아닌가 싶어요. 그게.
Will the Dragons be able to shut them down to stop that streak and make their way into the playoffs themselves?
I think we just need to worry about like their DPS comps and like ding on Pharah.
Even DPS, I can beat them.
Oh, yeah,
like, cause I was against them, cause you know Kongdu had 2 teams, so I only against Ding a lot. And so I know his style.
Okay.
You know.
4 more to go to be the only team to have a truly perfect stage in Overwatch League history.
I'm personally very superstitious. I feel like people will look at me like I'm a disgusting person, but if we're on a win streak, I don't wash my jersey. I mean, that sounds bad, but I'm a very not smelly person, so it's not bad. I smell great, actually. If I say we're the best team in the league, we're not. We're just gonna start losing.
Shock.
So I cannot say that, but we're
Shock.
very good. Okay, he thinks we're the best team in the league, but then we're gonna start losing. That's unlucky. I'll have him knock on wood later.
I love that one. I wonder who Sinatra's going to trade that jersey with.
I don't think anybody's going to take it now.
Right? I wonder. So I know in the pre-show you guys said that you're both picking the San Francisco Shock to not pull off the perfect stage. You still standing by that?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I am.
We'll see. I think if they, I don't know. The only thing where I see Shanghai taking a map is control.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
that's
Oasis. I
Oasis,
agree.
yeah.
I agree. I think if Shanghai is going to win a map, it will probably be Oasis. So the upside is that if the Shock win Oasis, I think they're much more likely to go 4-0.
All right, well, that match is coming up later, ladies and gentlemen. But right now, the Boston Uprising are up on the Washington Justice 2-0. We're going to see if the Justice can get back into this game in just a bit, so stay tuned.
Enter for a chance to win a once-in-a-lifetime trip for you and a friend to attend the 2019 Overwatch League Grand Finals and get the latest 9th-gen Intel Core i9 processor. Visit intel.gg/Core i9 to enter now.
So there we have it. We've heard what the halftime crew have got to say about this match. Definitely a lot of work to do for the Washington Justice. Boston looking solid, and San Francisco Shock coming up next. It's going to be sick.
Yeah, the Shock don't really mess around there. I think they get the perfect stage.
My favorite team, hands down.
Yeah, after that, we have Seoul and Hangzhou, and we'll be back. Has playoff implications, so definitely some more good Overwatch to go today. If you're a Washington fan, you're hoping for something small, like win a fight, win a map, take a point, do something. You got to start inspiring hope. And at a certain point in your Washington, you just got to break it down to basics. Let's just win a fight. Let's just do something good and start some positive momentum, because right now they're stuck in neutral at best.
They're really struggling to find that confidence. And you're right, Hex. That is the key to building confidence, right? You know, you got to get a little win here, a little win there, start believing in yourself. Because what we're seeing right now is a Justice that are not willing to trust themselves to take advantage of certain situations. They get a man advantage. What are they doing? Instead of just plowing in, they're backing off. They're playing safe.
Yep.
No, it's the opposite. You don't see the San Francisco Shock lose a man and they say, well, usually they do back off because they're smart. But sometimes it's just go for it.
Yeah, sometimes they notice that too. I mean, you look at the two top teams, right? New York probably fell out of that after Atlanta has taken 2 maps off or 2 matches off them. But you look at the 2 top teams, they don't back up. They go. They go. It's aggro. It's aggressive. It's the style of 3-3 that you want to play. And playing slow 3-3 and letting teams back into fights is just not what we see. On the other side of things, I do want to see Boston just continue the stranglehold. I really think this could be a team that improves and improves and gets better and better and can start challenging these top teams because they're so well coached, because they have set plays, and because RCK brings the versatility.
So, what we were saying there on your screen, yes, it is a beautiful map. Thank you to our observers, our directors there for going ahead and highlighting it, showing it to you guys. But there's also a purpose to that. This is a hybrid map. So you've seen Control now, you've seen where they fight over a control point and it's the team King of the Hill who gets to hold on to it the longest. You've seen Assault where they just go after points. Here we're gonna get a bit of a mix. You get that first point that the teams are gonna fight over, you capture that first point, and then there's a payload that will wind its way through along a track through the map, and the goal then is to see who can push the payload the furthest. So, bit of a hybrid map, it's a mix of two styles, and right now it's gonna be Boston starting off on the offense.
Yes, that threw you off a little bit because they're in a very defensive position.
Yes, for a second I was like, hold on, what's going on here?
They took the long way around, wrapping around the point here, and now they're going to finally engage onto the point. They've taken away high ground as well. The Divas battle it out over the top. First kill goes on to Corey. Teams don't usually win fights without your Zarya in the mix.
No, that's brutal. That's as bad as it gets. Because losing your damage, the Zarya is just so important for the support. There you go, Aim God saying goodbye. Goodbye.
Yeah, Aim God, another one of the veterans on this Boston roster, took over the starting spot last year over Neko. He's now on the Toronto Defiant. Both having good careers. Aim God has always had a little bit better numbers though. So you took out Neko, who looked really good, but if you broke down the numbers and the statistics, you're like, wow, Aim God actually does live up to his name.
He is the god of aim sometimes. Kelix though, gets plastered. Wonder how that happened. Looked like he just got caught out of position. Maybe a little greedy there. So that's going to force Boston to have to play a little bit more patiently here.
Yeah. Defenses have gotten so aggressive here. They don't give up this first choke point for free. I think teams have started to learn that any choke point is valuable, and now they're playing it a little bit more like Kings Row, one of our other maps, where you don't give up this choke right here. You want to fight up front if you can.
Exactly, because if you lose this fight on the defense, you can go back and try and challenge again, or you can just lie him out and blow him up. There we go, 3 kills for the Boston, make that 4, and that's a lot of progress now for Boston. But this is it, it's not the end for Washington. That's why you hold so far up. They'll have a chance to take another fight here, Heck, before this reaches the second point.
Payloads do move slow, especially when you only put one person on them. The more people near it, the faster it will go to a certain point.
3.
But yes, usually you just keep your diva back here on the payload duty.
You know, you get on the social media, check the news, what's going on.
Exactly. Have a snack, put your feet up.
Exactly. Oh, buddy. Well, rallies on both sides, getting the armor up here. Both of these teams, Color Hex with the grab, gonna bring in the one. Sensem gonna just go ahead and hand them a Diva Bomb real quick, but that still results in Janice going down. And Washington Justice now not getting the second fight that they were hoping for.
Yeah, really smart play there because you know you're probably even on ultimates here, so you just take the onus on you, you take the initiative, and take down the main tank at the other time. Counter grab.
Yeah, counter grab, but Trance was up for Aim God. Gonna be able to keep everybody all nice and healthy. Sound barrier thrown in on the other side, and now we're just going tit for tat back and forth, but it wasn't quick enough on the side of Kelix. He cannot save fusions in time. Boston not giving up on this though. They delete Sleepy. Can they keep Color Hex up? It doesn't look like it, and that might be it. That might be the turning point where it's okay.
They're
throwing the towel.
Committed. They had to keep going in, but Blase found himself out in no man's land. He was all alone on the Brigitte, and Brigitte needs to be in the mix. She needs to be up front there. So you only are able to heal your team if you hit damage. So anytime your flail hits somebody, you inspire your team, which essentially just heals your team. When you're out all alone, you've only got an armor pack to throw to them, and that's it. Your value as a hero starts dropping the further you get away from your team.
That is pretty much the core of this strategy. And then you can just get all on top of each other, giving each other big bear hugs, saying, how's it going? Blase, he doesn't have much to say, Hex. He's been sent back to spawn by Janos.
Hit the rally, try to get his team all the armor, but you can see the health bars are dropping really low, and without Blase, they're going to back up and wait for that respawn. Now we're just down to, a little over 2 minutes here, and the Washington Justice defense has been rather stout on this second point. The strategy has been executed well.
They are actually showing some fight here, some pep on the side of Washington. Good use of the ults, but here we go. This is the golden opportunity now for Boston. Big grab goes in, but they're taking monstrous damage on their side as well, and that is Washington fighting back. Despite Color Hex hitting a pretty solid grab, there was no follow-up on the side of Boston.
I just didn't have it. They keep trying to fight over this high ground, and it's not a place where you always see teams fight, so both teams trying to kind of figure it out here. The late kill onto Corey, actually a big deal though. Gonna reset his energy. Zarya is the difference between a high-powered laser and a wet noodle, depending on how much energy you have going up. So gonna have to put those barriers on himself and his team to get that energy high enough that he's effective in the next fight. Boston's taking the low road.
And Boston's choosing to get back on that payload. The cart, they need to keep pushing it forward. They're nearly at the second point with a minute and a half on the clock. Bomb goes over the top. Quick reactions there from Fusions. But RCK gets T-Max in the meantime. That might as well be a kill here. And this is favoring the Washington Justice on the defense. They are the ones who are looking so good here on the second point.
This is terrible for Boston. They committed everything that they had. Both support ultimates from your Zenyatta and your Lucio came in. It was not enough to keep the team alive. Now, as we get down to a minute, that's usually the time we consider one last push here. If they get to the checkpoint, they'll have more time and they'll move their spawn forward. But going into it, they're gonna have Rally from Blase, gonna give everyone armor. That should buy them enough time to get another Graviton and self-destruct combination up.
Exactly, and they're fairly even, both of these teams, on the support ultimates as well. But Corey decides to kick things off. Very early fight, very early grab.
All right.
Boston die quick though, Hex.
Silver lining. If you're gonna lose a fight like that and get absolutely destroyed in it, so now you have another chance. If it had gone on a little longer, they wouldn't be able to get in good position here. Corey with low energy at 30%. It's all about ultimate usage here for Boston. RCK got staggered out late. Yeah. Should still be enough time.
Thing is, they need to touch the payload. They need to get on the cart. Yeah. Boston Uprising to keep this alive. And it looks like they will be able to make their way there. There's nothing really to stop them. We could have Giannis coming through with the Shatter on the top. Exactly. He could just be bringing the Hammer Pain in. Meteor Strike.
Yeah, they've got Diva back in now. Trying to set up these combos. They've got the game-winning combination here.
Oh, Giannis doing a good job. Shield is there. Stunned out of the Shatter combo. Unfortunately, that's not going to work. Aim God with the trance, though. This is it. Now or never for the Boston Uprising, but Sleepy doing a great job of keeping his team alive.
That's a couple down. They clean it up.
Yeah, but I mean, in terms of who you traded here, you lost Otto on the side of Justice, but now you've got no Zarya. Do you have the finishing power here on the Boston side? It's not looking like it. They're going back to spawn, Hex. And that is a successful defense for the Washington Justice.
They've been so coordinated, but they didn't have the patience on the ultimates there. Graviton came out after self-destruct, tried to buy them space, and Washington showing some signs of life here. Now they just have to do it on the offense and see if they can win out Blizzard Worlds.
Corey looking very excited there. Things are starting to work out for this team.
And this is what you need. This is what we talked about. Win a fight, win a checkpoint, win a map, win a match. You got to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere.
The journey begins with a single step.
That's right, yeah. That's, you know.
One foot in front of the other.
All these posters.
Chin up, old chap.
All the office posters, right? Motivational posters.
Hang in there.
Say what you want, but that cat is long dead.
Yes, that cat is gone. So, yeah, he hung in as best he could. Didn't change his eventual fate.
All right. They've done a good job on the defense, stopping the Boston Uprising offense right near the second checkpoint of Blizzard World here. Boston now has to take control of this point to unlock, or excuse me, Washington now to take control of this point here, unlock the payload, and push it further, and they will win a map. If they do not do so, Boston will win the series by virtue of being up 3-0 as we enter in map 4.
Hex, we saw this stuff from Boston before. The hard hold.
Yes.
It is entirely possible here. Washington, they looked good on defense. Offense, a bit of a different beast. You got to get coordinated. You got to work together. And you have to crank that defense. Boston looking very good on the defense so far. So let's see, what are they capable of here, Washington? It's not looking like anything crazy, Hex.
No, very standard on both sides. Reinhardt mirrors in the 3-3 composition. 3 tanks, 3 supports. Time to smash into each other.
They didn't listen to it, man. They didn't get crazy. They didn't get stupid. They're sticking to it. Well, Washington Justice right now. Let's see, can they find any targets to pick off? It's a bit spread out right now on the side of Boston, but they are going to be able to just tighten up again here on the point. Fusions has to be careful, though. He keeps trying to get aggressive, and he's getting punished for that. They are not going to let him get out of that for free. And we lose 2 on the side of Boston Uprising. Unfortunately there, Fusion's trying to make a play, I think, and that just did not pan out.
It's always bad to lose 2 of the same kind of hero. You can maybe scrap by if you lose 1 of your tanks and 1 of your supports, but losing both of your main tank ideas here, and your Zarya and your Reinhardt, means that there's almost no way you're going to be able to come through it. D.Va's what we call an off-tank. Yes, she's tanky, but a little more utility pushed into her kit, so...
Well, yes, she is God. Yeah. On this point, on the map.
Yeah,
but D-Matrix is off cooldown.
Yeah, was that the 98% pick rate in the Overwatch League or something? I'm sure that our statistician masters will correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's ballpark close enough.
It's at least 95.
Well, Washington won that fight without having to use ults. They didn't have ultimates online, so it's a very vanilla fight here. And now they're going to push into Boston. Boston nearing ultimates of their own, though. It's all about execution.
Oh, looking for it. There's the trance, though. Color Hex has the grab offline. That's why we're watching him. Is he gonna throw it? Is he going to decide? Now's the time. Could go for the counter. Has to be careful though. And they may not even need it. They are dropping so low on the side of the Justice that the Boston Uprising will hold. And Color Hex showing some discipline. I like it.
Yeah. I mean, apparently, if your name's Hex, you can have some discipline. I would not know about that.
Ask him for some tips.
I should. The light is...
I'm kind of surprised though. You haven't turned it into the 1 yet. Try to eliminate him. You know, just absorb each other's powers. I'm looking for this knife fight on the main stage right now, Hex, between the 2 of you, like Jet Li style.
Yeah, I mean, it's either going to go that Highlander way, or we're just going to become going to be an Archon and just merge into one powerful being. However, big old grab into the corner, locks a lot up.
Where is it going to go, though? As Ado is out, and we get a DMAC on Sansam, so a 1 fight here for Boston. And you can already see him trying to back off. Arc turns tail, he just abandons his teammates. What a monster.
Now you have the very aggressive defense here holding forward. Just taking away the high ground, gonna lob in the alternate fire of Zarya, kind of like a splash of grenade, or his primary fire, just the beam of damage here. And now Washington's forced to rotate around to the side. Boston's been really good at catching these rotations.
Boston are doing a fantastic job right now of wasting a lot of time for Washington Justice. They are so far forward. Fusion's just throwing that out there. Not the best, but still, it is really just making it so that Washington, they have to fight so far ahead of the arch. They haven't even made it through the arch yet, Hex.
It wasn't the best, but it seemed like it forced out a Transcendence there, too. So they get that ultimate out. Fusion's very low. They're going to grab this.
Ooh, buddy.
Washington cleans it up.
He is gone. Dunzo, and I'm wondering what happened there because the Aim God had the trance going. I guess he was on the other side of the corner.
Yeah.
So out of line of sight for Fusions, just a tough break, which is probably why Fusions thinks he can swing his hammer in that scenario instead of keeping the shield up. Yeah. Like, oh, that was bold of you, Fusions.
Well, opposing Zaryas are actually really good to it, using their own allied shield and a personal barrier to block line of sight for Transcendence healing. We've seen it a couple times. It's very high-level play. Now, Washington, 2.5 minutes on the clock. Trying to push to the big golden box on the ground.
That's what we expect to see, Hex. This is the best Overwatch on the planet. Overwatch League, the elite of the elite, going toe-to-toe with the Boston Uprising. They are looking to hold, but they lose Blase early. Down a man in this fight. Trading back high-value targets, and actually the best targets right there. Unbelievable. Boston Uprising are going to hold yet again.
Really nice play there, too. I mean, a lot of people overlook it, but when you lose your Brigitte player, that's a lot of damage that usually goes into the Graviton targets there. They're all standing there, you're flailing through them, everyone's healed up, and you end up putting out a significant amount of damage. Boston lost their Brigitte early, able to still pull that fight back. Invested a lot of resources, though. Just a shatter from Fusions, It's been a star in the making. Trying to land a big one here and win the fight, because otherwise Washington's going to have some really good ultimates online momentarily.
They'll have everything they need to plow through. So Fusion's looking for some shatter plays here. We'll see if he's capable. Arc over the top. Once again, the fight really happening on this high ground, but they decided it's a bit too hot to handle. Washington and go for the low ground. This is the name of the game right here. Get on that payload that you just saw. And we're trying to get it into that golden rectangle, the golden rectangle of victory on the ground. So Washington Justice, they can feel it. They're getting closer.
Boston's playing very spread out. They know there's going to be a Graviton online for Corey. He gets it right now. They're trying to make him make a decision on which single target. Now a little more clumped up. Of course, Corey has to be careful to not get his Graviton negated by the defense matrix of RCK. Ominous music means we're below a minute.
Yeah, not so much time left on the clock, 50 seconds, and there's the grab. Fusion's in, aim got with the trance. There is still an option here. Yes, nicely done. Color Hex bubble to keep him alive. And there's the counter grab coming through. Trance has worn off, but the sound barrier's in. Washington Justice doing a great job of staggering out their ultimate abilities right now. Working wonderfully well. But we've got all the ults used up. Kelix is about to get sound barrier, and that can shift things in favor of Boston Uprising.
Shatter is online for Giannis. Should be able to hit it here. Everyone used everything else.
Maybe jump the gun just a little bit there on the side of Kelix. Still 20 seconds left on the clock.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Jump the gun.
Thinking perhaps that they could just end it right here, but now they're out of support ultimates on the side of Boston, and they still need to survive this. Blues,
oh no!
Leave me in the back line though, not gonna help, but a monster shatter from Giannis. Gets the double. RCK eats the grab on Corey, but it might be too little too late here. Washington Justice looking like they're gonna get a map on the board.
Washington will take this third map of the series, still alive. Let's not write them off just yet. They made some mistakes. Boston made a few more.
I'm glad to see. Not another 4-0 here. Washington showing that they've got some fight in them. Boston, you got a lot of work ahead of you here on the last map of the series coming up next.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
So, you just got him on your screen there, the legendary All-Star and Lucio, well, All-Star Lucio and Mercy skins on sale for the Overwatch League tokens that you collect. You can buy them, or you can get them from watching the stream.
Yeah.
Disney, you gotta go buy them.
Well, but anything that promotes people playing support in my games, I am all for. Buy those skins. If you pocket me 2 games in a row on my Fire as the Mercy, I will buy that skin for you.
Oh, buddy. That's it, Hex. You're done. You're doomed. But then again, I mean, you're always watching the game, so I don't know how many tokens you have now. How many tokens do you have?
I don't know. I didn't even check.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like they're there.
See, the thing is with skins, I only like ones that look really, really dumb, so I don't have a lot of options in Overwatch, because I think the dumber the skin looks, the angrier someone gets when you kill them, so I try to get the dumbest stuff possible. And unfortunately, the designers of Overwatch are too good at their job, so I haven't been able to find a lot of dumb skins.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones. But I mean, you know, the Spark Reaper skin, that's probably
Yeah,
that's up there.
That's pretty up there.
Except that you just never get to play Reaper. Well, let's stop crying about that. You know, Malik and I formed a group together. But Rialto is going to be potentially the final map in this series.
Yeah, this was the play that Giannis had to make towards the end of it. They were very patient in their play. He's able to find the angle right here, close it out. People sometimes forget that shatter goes under the cart, knocks down nearly everybody. That's the cleanup. Wins even though a Graviton got eaten. It didn't matter in the end anyway. So, Boston still trying to win this series. Washington, if they win, will push us to a deciding map number 5.
Indeed. Name of the game on this map is to push the payload along the road. The payload along the road, exactly. The cart along the path. It's a bit of a twisty, bendy path, but there are 3 points possible, 3 checkpoints possible on this map along the way. And I'll be sure to point them out for you when we get there. We're approaching the first one now. So Boston, they're on the offense. Washington Justice on the defense. Washington have looked good on the defense so far. So Boston, what do they need to do here, Hex? They need to not get booped by Arc. That's going to be a start.
Yeah, he's going to be flying in the sky, trying to manage this high ground here. Goes into his team as the battle commences on the payload. Otto falls first. That's rough.
No, that's not going to help things here for the defense. Losing your Brigida. Giannis is low because you're not getting that spot healing from the Brigida. Now that armor pack that really just jumps up. It's that burst healing that really helps. When she is gone, when Brigida's gone, it makes life a little bit more interesting for everybody else.
The burst healing is sometimes overlooked with Brigida because she's got so much utility with her bash and her flail, but it's really what makes her a super strong hero.
Well, there's the shatter. Kellic survives, barely, somehow. Sleepy deciding now it's time to trans, and he's gonna get taken out to the other side. Beautiful pin there from Fusion's trying to pull Sleepy out of position. And that was an interesting shatter. Fusion's really struggling with the shatters today.
Yeah, it has not been his best series here. Maybe taking his counterpart a little too lightly. They get grabbed. There's the cleanup here. Calyx will fall. Everyone else very low. No more healing. D-Max should be an easy one fight here for Washington on the cleanup. Nice hold for them as they push Boston all the way back to spawn. On the swing back here, Boston, with nearly 2 minutes in their clock, are going to have a Graviton surge of their own. Graviton and self-destruct has been the combination, the bigger bang as it has been so dubbed.
So hard to nail it right, though.
It really is.
Well, all the shields and sound barriers and everything.
Exactly. You see it happening. It's like, oh, they got a huge grab. Oh, here comes the bomb. Then there's shields, there's Zarya shields. You have to be able to take them out or at least move them out of the way. You see a lot of divas flying through to try to dislodge, a lot of Lucio boops. Another shatter attempts.
And Giannis, however, he has not been missing when it comes to the shatters. He is hitting targets. He is making it difficult here for the Boston Uprising to find their footing. Sam there to find the first kill on Color Hex, and that's not going to be helping things here for Boston. They're going to get sent back to spawn. They're looking to reset as quickly as possible. Yep, going to take a bath.
90 seconds. That grab got them nothing there. They are going to have 4 ultimates online to push. Order of operations, as always. You start with a rally. Try to put some pressure on the opposing Reinhardt. Maybe crack a shield. Then you get your own Earth Shatter up. Defensively, for the Washington Justice, a defensive grab here would not be terrible. Just to push them out of the way, give your team some time to build their own ultimates. It's all they've got.
It's not excellent here, Hex, but let's see. They have so much blase with the rally. There we go. A shatter that finally connects to the target, instantly countered out by the grab. We will trade 1 for 1. And there's RCK. Yeah. Big kills with the self-destruct, finally.
That's how you draw it up. That is exactly the play you draw up. You get everyone grabbed, then you've got the bomb in a good position. You knock down all the shields. Whole team dies. They sacrifice Calyx, but it's okay. He can move very, very fast on those futuristic roller skates. He will join the team momentarily. They get the checkpoint. They get an additional time on the clock. 3 minutes now to take the second checkpoint. They're going to need every bit of it, too. This is a long second point.
It's a long way to go. Going to be a big U-shaped bend here. Going to hook a left off on the other side of the bridge and then wrap all the way back around. So, Washington clearly putting themselves right in the middle of it. intending to drop down on Boston, perhaps. Very patient play here from Washington because they don't really want to be giving too much ult charge to the Boston Uprising. Aim God, volley to the face, I'm sure, nearly cops it.
Yeah, they have to give up high ground here as Giannis falls low. They're going to keep their Lucio up top to try to deny the high ground take. The fight's happening through the archway. No one's even fighting over the stairs at the moment.
No, looking for it though. Good positioning. Trance instantly used here by Sleepy. Giannis still going to be taken all the way over to the other side. Not going to get those heals. Otto next to fall. Boston making some serious progress now. This is good work on their part. But it's an early fight again here from Washington.
Yeah, we've seen that self-destruct come in on that point very often lately, and it ends up separating the team even on the Graviton. You can't support someone in that grab when you're trying to hide from the self-destruct. A nice charge through that wins them that fight. Shatter available for fusions. Both rides with Shatter available.
Oh, it's looking like Giannis Blase was the one getting caught that time. This is not looking good, although Otto...
Ambitious. Ambitious.
It's just not meant to be. Fusions right now, man. Struggling. Really struggling.
Yeah, I mean, perhaps drinking his own Kool-Aid. We've been hyping him up so much, but you'd lost 2 immediately there. Yeah. I mean, you kind of want that Shatter for the next fight. Tries to bring him back on his own. Does not. Ends up donating his health pool to the human fund. Or more accurately, the alt fund of the other team.
Well, the odds... Oh, RCK, don't fall in. That would have been unfortunate. But the odds of you winning a fight when you're down a man, they're very slim, unless you can get a kill immediately.
Yeah, in more DPS comps it happens more often, but not in frequently.
Giannis though, Giannis all the way out. Good protection there from Sam covering him in the D-Matrix. The sound barrier goes down. He is still going to fall though, just too much damage getting cranked out by Boston. And somehow managing to capitalize on catching him out of position. He got booped out, it looked like.
Yeah. Good job by Boston of giving ground and then retaking it with the sound barrier coming back in. They will hit another checkpoint. That is another 90 seconds on their clock as spawns move forward. 2 minutes left. And it hasn't been pretty and hasn't been clean, but Boston continues to march on Rialto.
Yeah, 2 points now on the board out of 3 possible. This will be the home stretch here for Boston Uprising, looking to get into the Cathedral here. What are they going to be capable of, though, as they round the corner? Because there are so many ults to work with here on the side of Washington Justice. They have the answer to the grab. They still lose Corey, though, on the side of Washington. That's not going to help things.
Deep Mac RCK on the other side. A giant Shatter finally connects.
There we go from Fusions. That's going to wreck things here for the Washington Justice. Dropping low on their side. Giannis goes next. Otto surely will follow. And there's some real progress here for Boston Uprising. Now, they're going to get into the final fight. That statue is the end zone.
So what defensive options do Washington have? A defensive grab is going to have the order of the day. The problem is, Washington's had to use their ultimate so defensively. Boston's really picking when and where they fight every single time.
Oh, looking for it, though. Where are we going to get it? There it is, the self-destruct over the top. No targets connected. Giannis too good with the shield, but we've lost Otto again. Giannis down, and now it is Boston. They are tightening up their game here, Hex. They are finally starting to find these kills. Otto, he's died first several times now for Washington. And that is it. The 3rd point picked up just like that. Boston, they made it look so easy at the end.
Signs of life early on for Washington, but as the map went on and on, Giannis started dying a little too often. 6 deaths in that server, along with Otto leading the server at the most amount of deaths.
Yeah,
gonna have to clean that one up.
You can't be really dropping that. When you've got Blase on the other side on the Brigitte with 3, I mean, Fusions was trying to hit those Hail Mary shatters. Unfortunately, it wasn't panning out for him, but still, he only died 3 times as well. So
yeah,
these kills at the end coming in for Boston, really making life difficult for Washington Justice. There's your namesake Hex, Color Hex on the board.
Yeah, Color Hex.
Looking good.
Just a better name overall than Hexagrams. I mean, I'm kind of jealous.
I don't know, Hexagrams though.
It's unique. It's unique. No, but you're right. It's not good.
No, it's better, is what I'm saying. I mean, Color Hex. Which color?
No, I should have a conversation with him and try to figure out the etymology of how he got there as well.
You know what? Maybe that's some content for production to look into, right?
Yeah.
Hey guys,
I'll just do it on my phone.
Hex and Color Hex. I think they might just not want to have you in the same room together because then it's just like the end of the universe.
Yes.
So you're gonna fusion together.
It is power overwhelming. That happens.
It's gonna melt all this film in the cameras and film in the cameras as if there were film in cameras anymore. What am I on? All right.
Look, Color X is a great story. It's one of the other scouting achievements that Boston has pulled off. Is our only New Zealander in the league, our Kiwi. And Boston's one of the only teams that gives these guys tryouts after they go to World Cup and after they put on great performances from all these contenders regions. You talk to a lot of the guys, they're like, I can't even get tryouts. Boston's like, well, yeah, I got a couple hours, come in. And then they sign these guys. Like, they do their diligence when it comes to finding talent that no one else even gives a chance.
Now they have a system and they've been sticking to it and it has been working. So far, Boston Uprising looking solid. Color Hex may be a Kiwi, but he's been doing the peeling. Now it's on Washington Justice to try and crack the defense. And well, this is the usual spot you're gonna see a first fight go down.
Rialto's so much about these corners because it's a map made of 90-degree angles, essentially. You gotta fight on this corner, this first checkpoint is a corner. You saw all the way throughout. You're gonna make these rough turns, so it's all about corner control and positioning.
What is possible? A lot of damage taken, but RCK will get overwhelmed. Golden opportunity here, although losing Corey is not gonna help for the Washington Justice. Somehow Corey going down, Giannis and Otto next. And just like that, that's the end of the push. A minute burned off the clock for Not.
On the other side now, they're starting to get ultimates up here. Aim God with Transcendence ready. There should be a Graviton ready. Blase at 80%. So a huge ultimate advantage right now for the Boston defense as they will just take position here on this corner. Got a Lucio up top ready to boop anybody. He's just hanging out. And now they've scouted. They're going to roll through the house here. Most teams try to take this house to try to take the natural high ground right away. Calyx is going to try to knock him off of the low ground.
Yep, there it is. Perfectly done. Perfectly done. Nearly gets it as well, but Sleepy had the trance online. He's able to keep everybody alive.
The Transcendence came out early, but now they're going to get grabbed. Should be the cleanup all the way through.
Yeah, focus fire is there from the side of the Boston Uprising. Picture perfect play coming through. Corey in a world of hurt.
Should not live, does not live. They do collapse and clean up. 2 minutes left. That is, well, I mean, they're so close to spawn. I'll give them 3 fights here. And probably 3 fights left offensively for the Washington Justice. Corey's nearing Graviton Surge. I mean, at this point, I'm going to stop saying it. If you have Rally, you open the fight with Rally. Ottawa's probably going to rally first.
Hold W.
Hold
Try
W.
to connect Mace with Face.
Stop.
Mace with Face. Get in there. If you're on the Washington Justice, you have Graviton online here for Corey as well. So
Boston has the tools to defend it, though. They have Transcendence. Wow. They solo grab fusions.
I like it. Aim God with the proper delay, but Yana's still going to hit that charge.
Very nice.
We lose fusions. We're going to lose Color Hex next. Perfect play there from Washington. Solo grab, and once again, fusion's just out in the middle of no man's land. That throws it here for his team on the defense.
Yeah, Fusion's also the main shot caller of this team too, so he goes out of the mix and he's trying to shot call from the death cam. It's not super helpful. And so it seems like they've really made the wise decision here of, we're gonna kill Fusions first, no matter what. And that's one of the benefits of solo grabbing, because then you know that charge is only gonna connect on Fusion. Sometimes you miss your charge target if there's too many in the grab.
Wow, sound barrier there in the nick of time. RCK finds a kill on Sleepy. Fusion's hanging on by a thread right now. He is still in this fight somehow. And Boston Uprising with a man advantage and now a 2-man advantage. They deny the first point to Washington Justice. 45 seconds on the clock left here, Hex, for Washington Justice, or they're going to lose this series.
They will lose this series. They had pulled off a single map, trying to send us into that definitive map 5. Last push, 30 seconds left. They have self-destruct, nothing really to combo with it. They have Transcendence, which they have to use defensively. They must know there's a Graviton on the other side for Boston. Working with scraps here. We'll see if they can pull it off, Washington.
Buddy, there's so many ults online now for Boston. There's the rally to kick things off. So Boston now looking to find that first pick. Got plenty of armor, but Washington, you got no choice. You gotta go in here now. Self-destruct over the top. Going to find a kill on Blase. That's not how that's supposed to happen. Grab is in, and this is going to be perfect for Washington. Somehow, Boston, they fluffed the defense.
Not the best grab, not the best self-destruct. They had some ultimates to work with and got no value out of them. Washington keeps themselves alive. We'll add 2.5 minutes to their clock.
2.5 minutes, that's a bit much. You just got the first point in overtime, Hex, and you're getting 2.5. What happened in 90 seconds?
I don't know, I don't know. I don't know how this game works sometimes.
Interesting.
It's a long push, though. They will only get, about 2 fights because you have to get around the bend. Boston is going to take this high ground up here.
Razor's dead.
Get out of here, Sansam.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, he actually got him into the river. That couldn't have gone it.
Wow. Yeah, so he flew up using boosters, and then the flail shot comes out, knocks him back into the drink. And I don't know much about 2,000-ton mechs, but I'd say they probably don't float too well.
Nah, he's down at the bottom. And it's got to be mud after centuries of people living tourists in there throwing stuff into those. I mean, jeez, nobody wants to look at the bottom of those canals. All right, Boston Uprising now. RCK with the self-destruct over the top, trying to cut this team in half, and it is going to put Otto out of position. Fusion's traded immediately, though. Giannis really showing that he's still got some fight in him. They're not giving up yet. But the rally is there from Blase. That is keeping the Boston at least armored up, making them a little bit harder to kill. Fusions is almost back into this fight as well, but RCK got cut off from the rest of his team.
Yeah, chooses to die on the cart and give them a chance to fight yet again. Now the question is, does Boston think they can come in here and fight a 5v6? I mean, you really only need to win one fight, so you might want to just wait for RCK. Graviton out.
Yeah, Grav is out. No D-Matrix just yet.
Oh!
RCK's in, and Color Hex's grab gets eaten. That's not going to help things. But again, Otto goes down. Fusion's traded. It's like clockwork at this point. This is crazy. Now you're going to lose Color Hex. It's like, what, paper music. They're just reading along. Otto dies, and then Fusions dies.
It's been the same order pretty much every time. They choose to fight without full strength. They pay the iron price for it as they all go down.
So, minute 52 on the clock now for Washington Justice. Home stretch, third point, trying to tie it up here with the Boston Uprising. And well, they're looking very good right now, Hex. Boston are making a lot of unforced errors. Just getting caught. That is not going to help things here, but it's looking like Boston. They're going to try and take a fight early here, exactly at the archway. RCK controlling the high ground. Since I'm going to go up and say hi, they're going to compare mechs. I like my colors better.
A big grab comes in. Calyx the first to fall. Sleepy is low-key put in a lot of work this entire match. He's getting headshots. That's the red arrow. White arrow works just as well. A standard body shot right there. They absolutely clean up here. And we talked about the new additions for Washington, giving them life. You need a good Lucio in this meta. It's never going to look that flashy. But what does look flashy is your flex support play. Sleepy has put in some really high damage. He's giving them the business.
Yeah, well, rallies on both. Let's see, self-destruct over the top, not trying to combo it with Color Hex. Did it actually put anybody out of position, though? It's not looking like it. Justice are doing a good job right now, sticking together. Really making Boston work.
Later Transcendence from Boston means that they should have an opportunity to try to find a target and push it forward. Fusions gets very low, has to back up.
Oh man, Fusions is just having such a rough time staying alive. The focus of fire is so fierce on him, and there it is. Self-destruct takes him out. Giannis hangs on by a thread. Somehow he's still alive. Unbelievable. Giannis is still here. In the meantime, the rest of Boston Uprising dying in throws, and this is going to be Washington Justice tying it up 3-3.
Their strategy definitely seems to be kill Fusions first, kill the center, and everything will crumble around it. Washington putting up a fight of their lives here on Rialto. They've looked like a whole new team with this revamped support line. We're gonna hit into overtime of Rialto right after this.
Back into the action here, Hex, and the Washington Justice really taking this map by storm. Boston clearly not sure of how to handle it because the first two maps were so one-sided in favor of Boston. They were looking great, and then all of a sudden we get that halftime, and it's the Washington Justice who have just figured it all out. They have been a real threat through and through so far in the second half of this map.
It's one thing to identify how to beat a team, and it's another to execute it. Because I think a lot of teams are like, well, let's just focus on Bumper when you play Vancouver, or like just kill Sinatra when you play the Shock. I mean, Boston, when you take Fusions out of the mix, the team dies. And they put every resource Washington has into killing Fusions as quickly and as efficiently as possible. He's getting solo grabbed every time they get a chance to do it. So at this point, Boston needs to recognize that that's the game plan and adjust to it.
They need to just be saving the heals for him, and his teammates need to be playing around him as well. Early challenge here from RCK. So there's only a minute on the clock added for the Washington Justice, so they're down to 27 seconds. Name of the game, push this cart as far as possible and win every fight from here on out, because you're not going to have much time left. Aim God survived somehow. Otto was looking for the flank kill, not going to be it. Sorry, Otto. You're playing Brigitte.
Well, they pushed Giannis out of position here. He's getting fuel for his team, and that's the first kill. Goes down to Otto.
Oh, the body blocks as well. Giannis, you're not backing up. You're not going anywhere. In fact, you guys are done here on the offense. That is it. Washington Justice barely make it around the first bend. To the usual spot, essentially, where you see that first fight happen. Just so little time to work with.
I mean, when you're in overtime on Rialto, essentially, if you lose the first fight on your offense, that's it. I mean, you can start snowballing, and you can win a single fight. You can win 2, you can win 3. So that's it. That's the winning condition now for the Boston Uprising. Just push it a little bit further. Couldn't get much simpler.
Get it to the rectangle of victory. And so now do Washington really change it up, or do they just stick to their, it looks like, judging by what we saw on the screen, you're just going to stick to this. But I don't know, we could get maybe some like double sniper, some far out.
No. Chengdu's not playing. Chengdu's not playing, friend. It's Rialto. Most teams want to run a 3 tanks, 3 support composition.
It is funny because I love watching Shock, only because they play 3-3 and only because they just completely destroy their teams, their opponents.
It's the disrespect show.
It's the disrespect show of like, yeah, we're just not letting you out of spawn. I'm like, yes, I approve wholeheartedly. Excellent work, Shock. But then you get Chengdu, and I just love Chengdu because damage all day. Let's go. So good.
They've gained a lot of fans by not conforming. They're non-conformists, they're anarchists, but they're also out of the stage playoffs. So, while fun to watch, maybe not the most effective of teams. Boston.
You gotta be true to yourself, Hex.
Yeah, that's true. To thine own self be true.
Boston, they don't have a whole long way to go, and they've got a little bit more time.
A little bit more. Had 30 seconds more, which means they can, in theory, lose a fight and still get back into this. Obviously not how you draw it up, but there it is. They're trying to get the payload there.
Minute on the clock now, and I mean, there it is. Rectangle of victory. Payload's nearly in it. Boston Uprising now trying to find somebody out of position here. An attempt perhaps from Kelix to knock Sensem off the high ground. Wouldn't be for long though. But the rest of the team are there for Boston. At some point they're gonna have to get in, and yep, sure enough, instant focus on fusions. Name of the game since the beginning has been remove the main tank, remove fusions. And again, Otto dies, but that's to give up his life so that fusions dies next.
He got a charge, but he got killed halfway through it. So now it's the question is, does Boston want to retreat? They must. Still time on the clock. This is where that extra 30 seconds absolutely comes into play.
Unbelievable.
If they don't have a bigger time bank, this map is over. But now they have 20 seconds to regroup. But Justice won that so hard. They have ultimates online.
Yeah, everything is going according to plan. You lose Otto, fine. You get rid of fusions, and we are so happy about that. For Washington Justice, they've got a real chance now to tie the series up 2-2 and take us into overtime. So, instant grab onto Boston, trance from Aim God to keep him up. Self-destruct over the top, not gonna find a target, and Sleepy doing a great job of delaying his trance.
Counter grab.
Looking for it, no self-destruct kills. Have they weathered the storm? No. Color Hex, he drops. And there's nobody on the side of Washington that's low right now. Boston, ever you're gonna do it, it's now or never. RCK is gone.
Put everything into it. Fusion's gonna fall as well here momentarily, you would think. This one's it. You like map 5s? I like map 5s.
Let's get into it. Control will be what settles this once and for all. We're tied up 2-2. When we come back, we will go into the overtime map, the last map, to decide who wins this series. They have done it. The Washington Justice, they've tied up the series, Hex, 2-2. We gotta go.
I got you. Summer's feeling a little bit sick here.
Hex, I'm dying.
You're too far away from the cough button, man. You gotta get up there on the cough button. Big reason why that they're almost gonna put their second win in the Overwatch League on the board has been Sleepy, the new acquisition. This is what I respect about Washington. They don't sit there and say, we're bad, let's just continue being bad, let's not upgrade our roster, let's not make any changes. At least they're trying to make changes. When you have one win in the Overwatch League compared to everybody else, you have to make changes. Washington's at least trying, right? They bring in Arc. He's got great experience in the Overwatch League. Bring in Sleepy, who was just miring away on the loaded roster that was the San Francisco Shock on the bench. So they made moves for talented players. They've increased the talents of this team. Now you're seeing it come together. Look, beating Boston is not easy. They have a winning record. They're 7-6 in the Overwatch League. They beat good teams all the time. So this would be huge for the Washington Justice. At 12 losses on the year, you start considering, like, are they just out of it for seasons? But you start putting together some wins, you could sneak in. You only have to be one of the top 12 teams to perhaps qualify for our season playoffs. So Washington trying to build here, trying to build a foundation to move forward.
Yeah, the biggest of stages is the name of the game. Looks like Sleepy, he spots it, he sees what's waiting for him, he's gonna go back and swap it for the Ana.
Moira, Ana?
Oh, it's gonna be Moira, okay.
Yeah.
Either or, right?
Well, I mean, it's harder to hit, right? So, like, Moira is one of the slipperiest support heroes, very thin frame, and then also has the fade away. So when you get pressured by the DPS, you can just go invisible, peek up somewhere else, and it's just a ton of healing. Moira does a ton of healing, and the ult charges very quickly.
Oh, buddy. And then you just got Blaze up top right now, just raining in rockets, perfectly done, gets up close, looking for it, and it's Boston Uprising getting first control on the point.
Yeah, you see how good they are in the clutch. This would be their 6th map 5. They've won 4 already this year. A lot of it has been reverse sweeps as Boston makes halftime adjustments. It's been the exact opposite today. Color Hex goes down very early, and without that pressure of the Widowmaker, I mean, the rest of this composition struggles to get anything done.
Well, that was ambitious.
No,
that was ambitious.
That's very likely I'm switching off of Pharah. Ambitious.
They're gonna change up the strat, maybe. I mean, Kelix has just got the wings online.
No, that's the tough part about this. This is with the RCK. I mean, you got to take the bad with the good, right? Sometimes he just dies, and Sombra really has all the tools in her kit to not die. She's invisible. She can translocate. She can hack health packs and then get they recharge faster. So dying as Sombra, I mean, breast tack's not good.
It's not bueno. It's no bueno. It's not what you want. It can't really be happening. Color Hex on the Widow, looking for it. Body shot onto Sleepy. Yeah, that's not exactly the ideal spot for Color Hex to find himself in right now.
No,
but he's able to see through walls, and again, there it is. One, he needs to get the follow-up, though. There has to be some kind of follow-up play to capitalize on the damage that the Hex is inflicting.
Oh, they're gonna crack Auto Shield. Auto is out in no man's land. They don't get this kill, I'd be stunned. That is 2 down with the DMAG also happening. It should be Boston flipping it back.
Should, would, could be. Is it gonna be reality though, Hex? Because they are not giving up without a fight on the side of the Washington Justice. 2 of them left, and it was Giannis going for the Primal as well.
That's fine. It's just about dying on the point, getting as much percentage as humanly possible. 70% will be what's accrued for Washington when all is said and done. Not quite into single fight territory, but this is where the Boston composition becomes stronger. While in control of the point, you can play all sorts of separated places. You've got Pharah in the sky, you've got an invisible Sombra somewhere, and then Color Hex is going to be constantly putting the fear of God in you as that Widowmaker across the map. Just shooting into doorways. RCK's in a cool position.
He's gonna come right over the top. Oh, and no way did he miss that.
He got 2 of them.
He got 2 of them, but that
fine.
It was ambitious. Still works.
I'd rather have him get 2 than die before he gets the
I thought he didn't get any, to be fair. He probably got the 2 that were coming in behind on the stairwell.
He did.
So, because the others in the building, he just pulled the trigger a split second too early there.
Yeah, but he got the Lucio, which is the important thing there, because then they can't sound barrier afterwards. Also, Lucio becomes just a roller skating potato when he gets hacked.
He just rolls around.
Doesn't do a whole lot.
Hamster. I mean, how do those roller skates still work, you know, when he doesn't have them?
I don't know.
They look like they're energy blades, man. If you hack them, like, how are they doing anything?
Let's not make him worse to EFP. Big self-destruct takes down 2. Meanwhile, they already had pressure on the point, so Washington at 75 and counting up.
Oh, buddy.
Getting hacks. But Boston needs to regroup. They're one fight away. Ambitious EMP.
Looking for it, though. Aim God finds Otto. Name of the game right now is a bunch of kills for Boston Uprising, and then so far they are holding.
I don't know if you got that hack off on Winston. You did.
They got
Winston
that man
hacked.
advantage. They got the man advantage right now. They just need to take advantage of it.
They're so low. Oh, knocks them into the mines. Fusions. This one should be all Boston cleaning up. Still a fight remains, though. 99% for Washington. They have some stuff to work with here. Corey makes the late switch onto Sombra. All right.
Interesting.
They're going to have to coalescence into here. You can coalesce and you can pressure down the Pharah in the sky. There is a barrage up.
Oh, he's putting the pressure on RCK as well, Corey. RCK not really sure where to look anymore.
Fusion just got knocked off!
Oh no, this is not gonna help things. RCK gone as well, gets smushed by Giannis. 2 quick kills here for the Washington Justice, and this is gonna put them in the lead in the series, Hex. They're going to take it. This is a best of 3 on the map, and that is Washington Justice taking the first point. Huge.
Otto
now can Boston withstand the pressure?
Otto had a clutch play there, hits the flail shot, knocks Fusions into the drink, and very much like D.Va's 2-ton mech, I don't think that hamster ball is really airtight either. Once you're in the water, you're down. Washington now 1 map away from going into the break with some momentum in their rebuilding period to beat a rock-solid team like Boston. It'd be huge for this squad.
It'd be unreal. This would be one of the biggest upsets we've had all season long. Boston Uprising, that's the thing. I'm curious now. The pressure is going to be monstrous on them because it's almost worse when you're the team. You're just not supposed to lose. You're at that level above where you're not supposed to lose. And at this point, they're probably wondering, how is this happening to us? What is going on here?
Yeah. Well, Atlanta showed us yesterday that even gods bleed as they took down NYXL for the 2nd time. Any given owl day, my friend, any team can win. Giannis falls first, Corey falls first, Blase says, not today.
No, they've got that one figured out. That was about as clean as it gets. Loads of ult charge as well picked up for Boston Uprising. They'll be getting those glowing check marks fairly soon. There it is. So, first control for Boston Uprising. And we are looking for the first team to reach 100% at the top of your screen there. So you can see 8% and counting for Boston. Now let's see. Who's going to go ahead and take the edge here? Arc, just, man, that was brutal for Sleepy. That would just be a terrible shock. You know, your friend just comes plummeting out of the sky right in front of you.
Yep, that fight is over before it even began. Completely one-sided in favor of Boston there. And now, speaking of one-sided, because these fights have gone the way they have, the ultimate abilities are very one-sided in favor of Boston. Rally up. Color Hex is 75%. You imagine that gets to a Graviton Surge during the next fight. And Self-Destruct gets there as well. What's most important is that they're just that much far ahead of their counterparts on the other side. So Boston, on paper, has all the abilities to win this next fight.
Now there's the rallies. Self-destruct, instantly done. This has been RCK's way of dealing with these kinds of pushes. He's not trying to wombo it with Color Hex. He's just trying to throw these D.Va bombs in to split Washington up or to slow down their push. So far, no kills, but...
Color X has to be grinning. They use Transcendence, which is always thought of the defensive counter to Graviton Surge. It's not there. There's 3 caught in it. Those 3 will die.
Yeah, Janus, Otto, Corey out. Instant back here from the rest of Washington, trying to get back to spawn as quick as possible. We'll see. Oh, big D-Mech would be huge here on Samsung, but just not enough damage here from RCK to do it.
Yeah, D.Va not necessarily the burst damage when those micro missiles and the boost is down. I mean, the upside is you don't have to reload. That doesn't stop me from smashing R every 2 seconds when I'm playing D.Va.
Yes.
You don't have to reload.
Muscle memory. Muscle memory. Too true. Oh, now we're going to have Samsung throwing it. Self-destruct, and that's going to open it up. Color Hex left out to dry there. 93% and counting here for Boston Uprising. This is a must-win fight now for Washington Justice.
Yeah.
They want to keep it alive and stop it from going the distance.
They will lose this fight very likely. There's a Shatter that comes down, doesn't find a whole lot.
Wow, Grav as well. With the man advantage, they're still committing the Grav into this. So Washington Justice not messing around. They have thrown everything at that final fight. They do get the flip. 99% on the board, though, for Boston Uprising.
But that went about as well as it could for Boston in a lost fight. There was no reason to use those ultimates late. And Boston, through that fight initially, by getting separated up top, and then they only had 2 supports at the low. They didn't rotate quickly enough, so that fight was over from very early on, and then to use the grab like that against a team at 99%, they're in trouble. They're in deep trouble right now.
Struggle is real. Oh man, he nearly snuck it. That would have been big. Instead, it is going to be the last second challenge here from Washington. Once again, RCK with the self-destruct. This time eliminated by Corey before he can get back in a mech. You got to get the punish. And yes, Corey out of the fight. That's going to be the big difference maker here. Once again, Fusion's just throwing the shatter out there.
It's about sending a message, not necessarily about putting people on the ground. A later Transcendence. Blase gets knocked off, but they exchange on the clip. Boston has this.
Yeah, Boston have got it. They are going to go ahead and run it all the way back. Self-destruct, deleted, sends them out. Corey trying to run through, but it's not going to be quick enough. Tied up 1-1, Hex. We are going to the final point.
1 point to rule them all. Can Washington pull this off, or will Boston dash their hopes in the last second? In the 12th hour, we shall see. And one thing I do want to, we talked about RCK's style on this D.Va, and where he's using these self-destructs a lot to open things up. The biggest downside I see of that is he uses self-destruct while teams aren't grabbed, and he ends up dying because they're all able to get him before he gets a remech in. So you have to be super careful. It happened there last time too.
Yeah, it did.
Well, the biggest benefit of using self-destruct while they're grabbed is no one can come kill you, and you just get a new mech back, but you're extremely vulnerable outside of mech. And that was a big blunder. It didn't end up costing them. Boston gonna roll out some DPS here on our final point of Busan.
I'm loving it. I was about to say, are we going to see more of the same? The answer is no. We actually get a Tracer, the league poster girl. Blase gonna go for the blinks, gonna go for the bombs.
Playing the logo. Washington on the other side of things, just trying to perfect their 3-3. I think you have to start there anyway, knowing that that's the meta, and then we'll see if they switch things up. They will switch things up, having seen it. Sleepy goes to Moira, much less killable. Arc goes down immediately, though. Corey is on the Sombra for the other side of things. They will not win this fight. They will relinquish first control.
Yeah, with Corey, though, that could be making it a little bit more difficult here for RCK. Now he has to worry. Gets chipped down to half, but we are still 6 alive now for Washington Justice. Still trying to find their way in.
Yeah, the Sombra's good here for a multitude of reasons. You see Color Hex is checking for him. The moment you hit an invisible Sombra, she's shown to you and decloaked. But also, because she's invisible, you're able to give your team the scouting information they need of where's the Widow, where's the Tracer, where is everybody? Because this composition, they're all over the place, and you can't keep track of them all.
RCK's in a tight spot, somehow made it out intact. Way too close for comfort, though, and that drew a lot of the team's resources into him, trying to keep him alive. Washington trying to press the advantage here. Blase still working in the back line, though, trying to find some damage, and Fusion's going to set it up. There's the follow-up. Nicely done there by Blase. Arc out of the fight.
Otto's going to die late. They're not even trying to kill him right now, actually. This is just a stagger. Eventually, he will get tickled down. 50% for Boston. And our final point of Busan, our final point in this series, winner takes all. And that was as bad as it gets for Washington. They switched compositions early, still have yet to get an ultimate online. Boston just sitting on checkmark after checkmark.
Yeah, that's the brutal thing. These fights so one-sided. Washington Justice right now, I'm trying to keep an eye on the players. I see Sleepy and Corey doing a lot of talking right now. So trying to get the troops rallied up, trying to get the team coordinated, see if it works for them. I mean, Corey doing the best he can to get that EMP. That could be the one ultimate that turns it around here for Washington. If they can hit a monster one, RCK gonna go ahead and show them how it's done. 2 hacks, make that 3, instant delete, but we lose Color Hex, so it's a 1-for-1 trade. And you lose RCK as well. Washington Justice, they may not even need ultimates, Hex. Maybe the Boston Uprising just giving themselves up for free.
It's about as good as that fight could have gone for Washington. You expect the EMP to come out to be the fight-winning ult, but now they have it for next fight, and they're going to need it. At 99%, Boston is one single fight win away from taking that point back, taking the map, taking the series. Washington has to win every fight from here on out.
Well, if Boston are going to start donating fights, then you know it's not looking as grim as it did a moment ago. Hex.
Yeah.
Oh! That was the EMP, Hex!
Got him. Got him.
Unbelievable. I mean,
He'll die for it, but...
That's so sick, though. What a sleep. Aim God, you beast.
If style points were Overwatch League wins, that would be right there in the win column.
Or was that the worst timing possible? Maybe AimGod was actually, because that was the angle, right? So maybe AimGod was shooting at somebody behind him, and Corey just walked into that sleep dart at the worst possible time.
It's hard to know without replays coming up. As the current state of things is, 40% for Washington. Have to win this fight.
Well, Colorhex starts this off strong with a kill on Auto. That has been the game plan so far. Giannis right now just,
100 HP, he's gonna die.
Jumping for joy.
Still, Washington has the numbers, has the advantage here. They've gotten all the kills they need. Time to regroup here. I wonder if Fusion's going all the way back. This is that replay.
Let's see it. Because this is...
Oh,
no, he hits it.
Just caught it. Caught it immediately. Great play.
Wow. Wow, that was sick. Well played, AimGod.
We're nearing final fight territory here at 75% for Washington, 99 for Boston. Winner of this fight will win the series very likely. AimGod dies immediately.
Oh, buddy, now you really need to do some work here, RCK. Get in there and do it, because Sleepy, he is showing the way. Lighthouse is blazing forth, and they are really pouring on the pressure. Corey tracks down Colorhex, and this could be setting it up. Hex, Washington Justice. They could get the job done right here and now. Boston Uprising, there's only 4 of them alive, 5 of them alive now, but they're running back in one at a time.
They're just trying to stall out. Fusion's gonna die immediately as he gets hacked and taken out. Justice are gonna do this.
Unbelievable. Justice, they have got it all going their way right now. They just need to keep it together. Excellent bio-nade onto Otto and Corey. Giannis is going down as well. Zentham gets hacked. I mean, Boston trying to do the best they can to bring it back, and so far it's looking good.
Kellick's been up top on this drum the entire time.
I mean, surely he has, but that was a huge one. The EMP comes through. That's RCK gone. Kelix as well. Fusions, he's going to be the next one getting all the attention, and that is it. Unbelievable. The Washington Justice. They go the distance versus the Boston Uprising and win in overtime 3-2.
They look pretty happy up there, don't they? That's what winning will do for your team morale, your team atmosphere. They get to look forward to the second half of the season with the confidence to know they can beat clutch teams, they can beat winning teams. They just did it to the Boston Uprising.
Very curious to see which brand Sleepy is going to go with later. But Boston, man, that is brutal. Brutal loss for the Boston Uprising. Very curious to see what's going to happen next with this team, considering they were the heavily favored team going into the match. Washington Justice with one of the biggest upsets of the season, no doubt about it.
It's so crazy because Boston's one of these teams that struggles going into the half and then gets good coaching and they implement changes and come back. They went into the half up 2-0 and get reverse swept by one of the lower ranked teams in the league at the bottom of the rankings.
I mean,
one of the worst teams in the league, the Washington Justice. They get reverse swept by them, and wow, the trajectory of these two squads could not be any more different now headed into the break.
Well, let's go ahead and hand it over to Mika now with an interview with one of our winners.
Thanks, guys. I got Sleepy down here from the Washington Justice. Everybody make some noise for Sleepy. Thank you so much. So you are the newest addition to the Washington Justice. This is your first win on the team. How are you settling in?
I like to think I'm settling in very well. I'm super happy we won today. I'm glad my impact is being felt on the team.
Absolutely, it is. And as we've seen today with the win, and we heard you earlier say that if the team won today, you would get everybody ice cream. And so we have a little bit of a surprise for you. This is proof that if you work really hard and you do well, you get rewarded. So, was this more of a motivator, or was this kind of a distraction thinking about the ice cream today?
I wanted to motivate my team. It kind of sucks that I'm going to be down about $200 after this, but I'm glad we won. That's all that matters.
Well, congratulations. Enjoy.
Thank you.
And that's all we have down here. Summer and Hex, back to you.
Well, I mean, there you have it. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. Player of the match brought to you by Omen by HP. From the winning team, from the Washington Justice, it is Janos.
This was the guy the team was built around. Their very first signing as an expansion team. They started off with the main tank, of course, with some experience in the Overwatch League. has had a rough go of it, but now you've got more support lines. As a main tank, you're only as good as the guys keeping you alive, and now he's starting to gel with Arc, to gel with Sleepy, hit some big shatters today. And you know what? He got the best of these shatters compared to Fusions, who we consider one of the all-star main tanks in the league. So we know he's capable of these kind of performances. It's just about actually bringing it to the table.
Exactly. And this team, I mean, he's had a lot of pressure on him riding since day one.
Yep.
A lot of it focused on him as the star for the Washington Justice, and it never quite clicked. But today it seems like finally we're starting to see some headway here for the Washington players. We're not done yet here on this fine Sunday. The next match coming up is the Shanghai Dragons versus the San Francisco Shock. Be sure you don't want to miss it.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Toyota, official North American partner of the Overwatch League. Toyota, let's go places.
Hey, man, what's up?
You need anything for today?
Nah, man, I think I'm set.
Big day today, man?
Yeah, huge. Let's play some Overwatch.